What is up, Sooner Nation? Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Be a part of what's going on with the Sooner Surge. Also, turn your notifications on, and you'll be notified when we release a video. One other thing, check out Fanstop, fanstop.com. Go to the website, use code SURGE. You'll get 10% off your first 3 months. Officially licensed OU merchandise. You will not be disappointed. Sign up now. Jackson, here we go with a little recruiting talk, a little recruiting update. Uh, Getting closer to some, I would say, some busy seasons here with Oklahoma as far as recruiting in June is going to pick up. Just wanted to do a video, touch a little bit on some guys, specifically some offensive linemen. We all know the names that are kind of in consideration there when you talk Oklahoma 2025. Fasusi, Haywood, Rogers, and I'm going to try to pronounce the name Balboa. I may be messing that up.
Yeah, it definitely is a hard name to say, Jason. But as you said, man, it's offensive line class is key. Obviously, with the missing on Ogumaro, it's like now for sure adding another piece or two is really, really needed. And then whenever you talk about the offensive name or the offensive line, another name to bring up is Darius Afalava out of the state of Utah. That's one that Oklahoma quietly has been pursuing extremely, extremely hard. So also, Jason, that's a name that you did not say, but he's a top 150 guy, top 200 guy on some sites. So he's a very, very big player, the best player in the state of Utah. And we've seen the last time when Oklahoma attacked the state of Utah, everyone thought they were going to get to Celie Connor, and at the last moment, he committed to Texas. But yeah, with this offensive line, Jason, it's super, super key. Michael Fasusi out of Louisville has all the OU connections. Jaden Hardy. There's been some other players from Louisville over the years that have ended up at Oklahoma as well. And Fasusi, he is the number one ranked offensive tackle in this class. On some sides, he's a number one ranked offensive lineman overall. So he's an extremely talented player, someone that Oklahoma definitely is going to push all their chips in for, I would expect. But this is kind of a recruitment out of all the offensive line ones that's been all over the place. Because there was times where you heard OU is definitely the leader. Then you heard Missouri. Then you heard Texas. So you don't really know what to believe there when it comes to Michael Fasusi. It's kind of, I think we'll see after OV season where things go there. As of right now, I don't feel too confident in Fasusi ending up a Sooner. I just think that with a player of his caliber, he's going to be able to go to some schools. Not saying that Oklahoma can't play the NIL game, but if you get thrown some big, big bucks, especially compared to Oklahoma, it's super, super hard to say no at this current day and age. And then next, we can talk about Lamont Rogers. With OV season, I think we'll see Oklahoma make a big push there. His recruitment has been a little bit more quiet, especially compared to some of the other offensive linemen. And just as I said, as OV season approaches, that'll be one to watch very, very closely. If I was to put my money down, I actually think that Lamont Rogers or Ty Haywood are the two most likely guys to end up in Oklahoma Sooner, Jason, if I was a betting man as of today.
Do you think out of the five guys mentioned there, two is the number, Jackson? Do you think two's the number? Do you think? I think that I think they've got to get at least two in that five. I think to say this class is another really good offensive line class.
Yeah, for sure. And whenever you talk about that, if you land those two, plus if you land a guy like Darius Afalava, you already have a guy like Ryan Foje committed, who we already have seen rise. I expect him to rise a ton more while he goes to camps and stuff. Then you have Darius Afalava, who's out of the state of Utah, doesn't get a ton of national attention. I expect him to rise. And then, so you're talking about Oklahoma. Plus, if they get, let's say, hypothetically, a Lamont Rogers, that's 3 top 100 guys to have in your offensive line class, Jason. Year one in the SEC, being able to land that kind of offensive line class, is that not a statement by Bill Bedenbaugh? The best offensive line class we'll have ever here at Oklahoma. And you got some dudes up front.
Yeah, and the thing is, it follows it would follow a 2024 class that was extremely good as far as ranking for the offensive line. So it's important that they close out. That's the main thing here as you head to the kind of to the end of recruiting season, because I think personally, I think there's a chance OU has most of their class committed pretty early on in the season,
Yeah,
Jackson, in the
yeah.
fall. So we'll see where that goes offensive line wise. I think it's very important that they close out. And I think it's also important that I know we're talking about maybe having commits done early, but it's going to be very important to have a good year in the SEC, offensive wise, too. So all that kind of matters. But moving on a little bit, Jackson. Defensive side of the ball, Omarion Robinson released his top four. OU's in a real good spot, it seems, just by all the pundits you see uh, as far as predictors and everything. They look like they're in a good spot with him, and not surprised because of just what they've done in the defensive backfield in the first few years under Brent Venables.
Well, yeah, and I think whenever you talk about Omarion Robinson, you talk about a dude that's an absolute baller. Once again, a safety. We're seeing Oklahoma go after. They currently have one safety committed in the 2025 class, and Marcus Wimberly out of the state of Arkansas. And actually, Omarion Robinson's out of the state of Arkansas as well. So, with how Oklahoma has been recruiting this cycle in 2024, you've seen them really set a central hub and location here in the states of Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Nebraska. Like these areas, right? You really have seen Oklahoma emphasize that. And watching Omarion Robinson on film, you talk about just another statement by Brandon Hall, Jason. Like he has been the most consistent recruiter while he's came to Oklahoma with everyone on this new staff outside of Emmett Jones, just because he hasn't been here as long as the other guys. But what Brandon Hall has done to the safety room, Jason, you're talking about it being, in my opinion, the deepest room on the team. Really, it's like 6 or 7 deep. You have a ton of guys in that room that can step up and play this year. And then you also pair that with Amari Robinson having a top four of Arkansas, LSU, Oklahoma, and Oregon. With having the chance to land Amari Robinson, it's huge because just more and more depth in a safety room that's already absolutely loaded. And one that I'm shocked that Brandon Hall is honestly still at Oklahoma, Jason. I really thought with the way that he can recruit, with the way we've seen him develop the safety room, that he would have another defensive coordinator job, or maybe even a really low level head coaching job, and we haven't seen that yet. So, but he's done great things with the safety room, Jason. And as OV season rolls around, I don't expect Amarian Robinson to get out of the month of June without being the center.
Yeah, and here's what's so important. I think that when you talk about the SEC and the move to the SEC and how important is it in recruiting, well, I think you can look at those two guys specifically, Wimberly and Robinson, out of the state of Arkansas. Arkansas can't hold that against Oklahoma anymore, saying, well, Arkansas is in the SEC, come play for Arkansas. OU is now in the SEC, so they don't have that leg up anymore on the state of Oklahoma, basically, for saying, hey, you come to Arkansas, you can play in the SEC. So I think in that situation, it's really helped for something like that. I mean, you look at guys in the past. I know this guy wasn't a 5-star or anything, but Miles Slusher went from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, went over to Arkansas. So, with the SEC talent, SEC competition, that's a big thing for OU now being over there. And I think you're starting to reap a lot of benefits from it in the recruiting world. So, very very important start to the season this coming season as they get rolling in the SEC. There you kind of have it. A recruiting update. Thanks, Jackson, for all the info. Appreciate it. Sooner fans, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Recruiting will be ramping up, and our coverage will be ramping up as far as recruiting goes, as the visits will start back up and everything will get busier in June and July, obviously, with a lot of things going on. So make sure you're subscribed, be a part of it. Appreciate you guys. Have a good day. Till next time. Boomer.
Sooner.